Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. As you guys know, I have been diligently working to try to see what mods and stuff are still effective and still working for the new update on Supermarket Simulator. And today the focus is going to be on the More Customers mod versus another mod that is very similar called Simple Customer Booster. Now these two mods have been out for quite some time, and you hear people singing the praises of mostly more customers, but I don't really ever hear people talking about Simple Customer Booster, which is interesting because Simple Customer Booster is clearly the superior mod, so it's a little odd. But we'll get into it and you guys will see. So we ran a lot of tests with these mods, and interestingly enough, well, you'll see. First of all, obviously, the first thing I wanted to do was to do a vanilla test. So neither one of the mods were on, and I decided to run through an entire day, and these are the results that I got. Kind of what you would expect. Based on where I am in the game and the day and all that type of stuff. There's nothing out of the ordinary with this. 52 customers is about what you probably would expect in this situation. So business as usual. So the very next thing I decided to do was to test out More Customers mod. Now I've used More Customers mod. It was pretty good for a while, and it did its thing or whatever, but there was an issue with the mod every now and then that you would have to where just 0 customers would come in at all. Like you would just get no customers, and I had to take the mod off and stop using it for a while, and then they updated it. I tried to use it again, it worked for a while, and then once again, you know, entire 24 hours pass, not a single customer comes in. So, you know, it's had some history of issues or whatever, and during my testing, sure enough, I decided to download the More Customers mod, put it onto the game, and what do you know? I got 0 customers. So there is no chart to tell me how many customers I got for that for the More Customers test, because it literally didn't function. Nobody showed up. My restockers were just standing around and restocking stuff, and the store was completely empty the whole day. So there's your answer there for people who are asking if the More Customers mod is reliable or if it still works. It's not. And it pretty much hasn't been since it came out, except for, you know, there's still certain people who are singing its praises and it's still been working for them. That's fine. I've always had issues with it, so there's that. But normally that would be the end of the video. Like right now we can end it and be like, all right, well, there you go. This one works, that one doesn't, this one's fine. Go download the other one, great. But I can't really end the video here because throughout my other testing with the other mod in particular, I found out some very interesting things. So, the fast forward mod is another mod in this game that has always been kind of weird for me, because it never seemed to work in the way that I wanted it to work, which is kind of just to speed up the days and make them quicker. There was always some weird side effect coming with speeding up the days, whether it be your customers get backed up a lot quicker, your cashiers bug out, and all types of weird stuff. I've had your frame rate getting completely tanked. Tons of issues with the fast forward mod, and I just really, it was kind of up in the air what could happen. It was a problem for me, and I just didn't want to use it. But in light of the fact that I've uninstalled and reinstalled the entire game, and I started kind of going in and meticulously installing mods one by one to see which ones work, I decided to revisit the fast forward mod. And true to form, it's still pretty fucked up. it's still kind of janky and doesn't really work well all the time, but I did find an interesting use for it. So let's look at some data here. Immediately after I did the vanilla and then the More Customers mod, I decided to install the Simple Customer Booster. Now this mod actually comes with a file that you can edit, and it basically will change how many customers you can get. And when you go into the file, I think it's set to 20, which is crazy high, by the way. You get a shit ton of customers when it's at 20. I actually cut it in half and set it to 10 in the config file, just to, you know, because I feel like 20's kind of crazy. So I went in, I changed that, put it in the game, and then bam. The next result I got 157 customers. We went from 52 to 157. And that's just, that was cutting the initial value in half. I probably would have gotten way more than that, but I cut it in half before I started this project. Now, the interesting thing about this is I had already had the fast forward mod on at the time, and I'm like, okay, well, here's a good opportunity to test out both mods. You know, fast forward mod has always been kind of fucky, but you know what, let's try this out and see how it works. Now, the results was when the game was fast forwarded at double speed, right, we got 157 customers. But then I thought about it after I was done. I was just like, I wonder, just out of sheer curiosity, I had the game fast forwarded. That's a pretty high amount of customers. Was that like somehow influenced by the fast forward mod? And I was just like, no, I mean, that can't really be. Like, I feel like that would be weird, but you know what? Let's do it for science. So I did another day immediately afterwards, and I only got 104 customers. That was without fast forwarding the game at all. And that was very interesting to me because that's a huge jump. Usually there's some kind of discrepancy. There's, you know, you'll get 157 one day, you'll get 155 the next, you'll get 150 maybe one day, just had a bad day or whatever, but it's generally around the same. There's never a case where the discrepancy is 50 customers, you know, 50-ish, give or take. Like, that's crazy, right? That's insane. So I ran it again, and this time I put it on 3 times speed, and I got 200 customers this time. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of crazy, because I didn't keep it on 3 times speed the whole time because the game kept bugging out. So it was at 3 times, and I eventually moved it back to 2. But then, you know, chaos took over, and I'm just like, all right, well, let's push this to the limit. We're gonna keep it on 3 times the whole day, no matter how much the frame rate is screwed up by having it on 3. We're gonna keep it at 3x speed the entire time and see how many customers we get and how much money we make. And this was the final result. 305 customers. 305. We made an income of $28,000 in one day with a total profit of $15,000. So, in my little experiments here, we had a completely unintentional result where we found out that simple customer booster and the fast forward mod, they kind of got this weird little thing going on here. And you can actually directly influence and increase the amount of customers that you get simply by using the fast forward mod. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. So the point of this entire video was to say, essentially, don't use more customers because it sucks and it doesn't work. Unless it's already working for you and you're happy with the results, don't bother because it's not good, at least not for me. You should switch over to Simple Customer Booster because you have control over exactly how many customers you get. You can alter that variable or that equation to make it to where you get either more or less depending on the amount of time passed. And also, if you have the fast forward mod, you can basically just press a button, make the game faster, and it will result in more customers for you, which will in turn result in more money. Now, disclaimer, if you're getting all starry-eyed seeing this and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna get so many customers, be mindful that your shelves will be decimated. So if you plan on utilizing the fast forward mod, make sure that your restockers are on the ball and make sure that they're not doing any active work before the day starts and stuff, because if you start this day and you're not ready and your inventory is not good, you don't have a lot of backstock, you're gonna have a lot of pissed off customers because they will clear you out. Your shelves will be completely empty by the end of the night, and there's no way to really keep up with it because the cashiers aren't gonna, the restockers aren't really gonna go any faster, and if you're fast forward in the game, chances are you're not gonna be that much help either. So keep that in mind also. But I just thought I would share this with you guys because it's very interesting. This is one of those things where you set out to make a video and you start making said video and the results are completely different than what you set out to achieve, which is, you know, it's fun. And that's the whole fun behind it. So there you go. Very interesting results. More customers mod. kind of a bust. Don't use it unless it already works for you. Definitely give a simple customer booster a try. And if you really want to be kind of chaotic, you could also use the fast forward mod to go even more crazy. So there you go. Hopefully that was helpful. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys on the next one.